can never succeed out there. You have to have a reference. So when you are falling down, you fall back to your first step as a woman. So you know that, okay, this is how I did it to come to this stage. Now, if you have that first step, you would never fall flat on the floor. You would always have a stepping stone. Your first step will never break. It's just like building a house and you have your foundation. If the wall collapses, it still falls on that foundation. So whatever you do, you just clear all the stuff you don't want and leave the foundation and rebuild on it because your foundation is firm. But then you don't have a good foundation and then you just want to build a house. The next day it will collapse and then there's nothing to even stand on. So, like woman, who am I, sets the foundation, the basic foundation for the woman so that even if you go out so far and then you realize that you are lost, you can always come back to make a reference. Like I told somebody, I'm like, you went to school. If you can never skip kindergarten and say I'm a college. No, you have to start from kindergarten and then start building on it. And then when you go and you lose your life, you can come back to your kindergarten class again and sit down, rethink, how did I do it? You would be surprised your inspiration started from kindergarten. But if you don't have that basics, you will climb up and then you lose your way and you can never find your way back. And that is where it sets for depression, because I don't know what to do. I'm not happy. I can't make myself happy. Who should make you happy? I can dance, I can laugh, I can do everything. But if you cannot create your own joy as a woman, nobody in this world can make you happy. Because you may get the whole money in the world, but that thing that is called happiness, that money cannot buy. So we are women who have to be creative through the wisdom to know that if I set this thing up, there is joy in this. I find joy in my children. What would I do to maintain that joy in my children? Perhaps sometimes when I crack jokes, perhaps sometimes when I involve them in what I'm doing, it brings out that joy. So if you skip all this and you tell me that, you want to get to the head, you get there, nobody respects you, nobody, they don't even acknowledge what you do because they feel you are so stiff. You don't know how to be, you don't know what to bring to the board. Right. Yours is just work, and that's it. And then you don't have friends. You don't, you don't find yourself doing the things that connect. You see? Yeah. So this is all of the, the stuff that is in the book so that, you can find yourself rebuilt if you are down. Don't give up. Yeah.
I love it. You spoke about family a bit here. Tell me, what does your family think about the work you do?
Oh, man, my husband is my number one fan.
Oh, that's awesome.
He reads, I compare my husband to Simon Cowell in American Idol. Everybody gets you to say something, but when Simon says something, everybody's like so happy. I compare my husband to him. He is one kind of person. He doesn't just read any book. So when I write my book and he reads the book and say, you did a good job, then I know I did it. I give myself a thumbs up. And he is the first person to go out and tell the next person for me that, hey, there's a book out there, and then sometimes he gives them the physical book. And every person that my husband gave the book to, they gave me good results. They are like, oh, I thought I wasn't doing well in my marriage. But I realized that this book has really made me see that I'm going on, I'm doing the right thing. And another person will be like, oh, I think I have to fix this side of my home. Right. So I enjoy hearing people telling me all this. And my son will be like, Mommy, can I have a copy? So when he reads it and then he comes again and say, Mommy, can I reread your book? Then I know that it's I have to first teach my son before I teach somebody else's son. So if my son gets what I'm trying to say, then it's enough for me, because I know that the other person would also be able to get the advantage that my son got. I have a saying, if you mess up somebody's kid, your son will always go and meet that kid. So whatever bad thing you imparted into that person's son will be paid back to your own child. So teach what is right. That's what I always tell my people around me. Yeah.
I gotta say, I think it's really what you just said is one of the most important things that a parent can say to another parent. Before you go out pointing the finger and looking at the next one, look at your own. And I think that as a mother of a son, if you're really trying to empower women, teaching young men how to treat women is an important part of that. And so kudos to you for working with your son and educating him. And I think it's beautiful. Tell me.
Oh, yeah. I can give one advice out there if it's okay.
Oh,
because
please.
I'm a mom too. Yeah. Sometimes, like I and my son, sometimes he will do something. And then he thinks he did a big thing and he wants me to say more good job. And I'm like, you didn't do anything. That's not how God bless. God doesn't look at the big stuff you did to bless you. He's watching the little thing that you skipped because somebody may have fallen down and then you skipped the person and went to the teacher to report. You didn't do a good thing. What if something had already happened? You have to help the person get up. If possible, walk with that person to the teacher. Unless it's so much of an emergency that you cannot carry the person, then you have to do. But if you skip the person when the person just needed a hand to get up, and then you left the person there and something else happened, you won't get the blessing. Though you went to report, you cannot get the blessing. So sometimes I use my child's own experiences to teach him. Like you found something on the floor and you skipped it. It may be for somebody. So if you take it, give it to your teacher, when the person comes, they are able to find their stuff back. But if you leave it and somebody else takes it, you didn't do a good job because you were the first person to find the solution and you skipped it. So these are some of the advices I give to my son, so he can grow up with it and know that, you don't have to do big stuff to get name. Then, you come back and you are not happy because we always find happiness in those little things that, we sort of do. So if you skip them, the big things will never bring you happiness. Yeah, so that's one advice I'll put out there.
Tell me, how long does it take you to write a book?
Well, it depends. Usually, if I'm writing a book, I usually do it for 2 weeks. And that it doesn't end there. I try to make sure I end my book because I always tell people, whatever you start, make sure you end it. If you don't end it, you always come back to restart it. So every time I start a book, I make sure I end it. And then after ending it, then I revisit the book. So sometimes it takes 2 years to complete the book.
Right.
Yes, because I have to, go back to the Bible, seek advice, give it to somebody to read to check the first impression. Yes, and all those, I put all those details in the book before, I can say that I've completed the book. So sometimes the first step, it takes 2 weeks or 1 month. Then to delve back into the book, it can take 2 years or more. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So, I'm intrigued by you right now. You are. You spoke earlier about having your full-time job and moving up the ranks at your job. You also spoke about having a family, a husband, a son. So how do you, doing all of this, find time to even write a book, let alone writing it for 2 years? Like, how do you find time to do this?
Well, this is what I do. I'm such a person. When I get an inspiration, I have to pause, start writing. So I don't really have a pattern for that. I don't have a particular schedule to do that. Like I wake up in the morning, no. Even if I'm cooking and the thought comes, I have to take my paper, put it down. As I'm cooking, I'm writing till the time I know that all the thoughts are on paper. So that I don't forget anything that came to mind. So that's how I do it. Sometimes I may be working and then the thoughts is, it will just be running. So I double check that if I give myself a time from the work to write, I'm not, wasting the company's time. Then, I just start writing. So wherever I am, I can be at a shopping mall and it will come. And then sometimes I have to, record it on the phone. Record every thought that is coming on the phone. So you see me like I'm calling somebody. I'm only just recording my thoughts on my phone. So I don't forget what came. And then I come home, replay it, and then write it. So those are, and sometimes, whilst you are working, you are able to come to a problem that speaks to you about the book you are doing. And that also helps. Yeah. So sometimes, that's how I put mine. So I really don't have a pattern for it. As long as it comes, even as we are talking, if I'm getting it, I'll be talking with you and still be writing my thoughts down. Yeah.
Me,
So that's how I do it. Mm-hmm.
As an author yourself, what authors or books inspire you?
Well, when I'm writing, I love originality. So I don't usually delve into people's book to, write mine, because then if you don't take time, you will be influenced by them. Right. And then at the end of the day, the problem that you are trying to assess or to solve, you deviate. So what I do is, on my leisure time when I don't have any, then, I'll be reading people's books. Usually I don't take the name, because sometimes when you take the name, you be sort of biased. So I just read it to see if I can find myself in your book. That's how I read people's books. But then, when it's time for me to write for a course, I usually delve straight into the Bible, because I believe that everybody took their stance from the Bible. So that's where I go into first to, gather my information. And then I love listening to advice. Like I told you, when I was growing up, I didn't get my own mom to advise me or from home. So I usually listen to the older people, because I believe they have experience. They draw from resources, they draw from experiences, they draw from their activities. So when they put it together, it becomes a whole topic on its own. So I listen to them, and if I'm getting information concerning what I'm doing, I take it and then I relate it to my life to see, have I been there before? How did I solve that thing? Then if I find that I am in it, it's easy for me to start writing. So woman, who am I? Part of it, it's just me, me pouring myself there in words. Yeah. So, that's why I said it's a practical book, because you would find yourself, no matter who you are, you find yourself in some way that, you realize, am I holding on? Am I giving up? Am I getting tired? Yeah. So that's where but my books, all my books, I love originality. So I don't usually let other book influence my book.
Tell me a little bit more about you. Tell me about what you do when you're not writing, when you're not working. Like, how do you take care of yourself? What's your self-care like?
To me, I believe every woman cannot do without God. You can be successful in life, but the one who gave you success, if you skip him, I don't think you can really live in the world that he created. So to me, I love listening to preachings, but not just any preaching, because nowadays we have sweet preachers. So I love listening to preachings that speaks directly to my heart. And every time I'm listening, I watch out for change in that preaching. That is, whatever you are telling me should be able to tell me that my life is on track, or I'm doing something bad, or, or I'm doing something that, it's not worth it. So if I don't find that, I don't usually listen. But if I'm not writing, if I'm not doing anything, sometimes I sit with my children and start advising them. I tell them words in Proverbs, because sometimes I know they don't understand. So I call them words in Proverbs. And then I'll be like, see, in life, if you do good to somebody, you would always go back to find what you did. Not so much with that same person that you did, but through that person, that goodness will be passed across. And then it will reach the next person. Then it will reach the next person. And you will go back to take back that goodness that you gave out there. So make sure that you always respect people. And then at the end of the day, you don't regret. When you meet that person, you are happy to meet that person. You have something good to say. So that, that person also will go carrying that happiness that you imparted and also impart to another person. So when I'm not writing, sometimes I sit with my boys so we talk. Sometimes we talk in the car, we talk at home, and then, I listen to preaching, or I will make songs from the Bible to teach the Sunday school kids. So that's what I do.
Let me tell you, This has been one of the best interviews I've ever done, because it hasn't been an interview. We've had a conversation. I feel as though I get to know you a little bit better. I'm so excited about the book. Please tell the listeners the name of the book again, and tell us all where we can find this book.
Okay, so Woman, Who Am I? it's a book that can be